Hi everyone, it's Marcus and Marilee here to give you a little update on our homestead hunt. But before that, we want to do a little bit of admin. So we've started a Discord server for the channel. We're hoping that this can be a community for finding like-minded folks. Maybe we could share recipes, things like that. You can share your recipes if you have experience with farming, composting, any homesteading techniques. We're hoping that this is kind of a place to share that, build a community. Speaking of Discord, we've also started a Subscribe Star. Subscribe Star is similar to Patreon in that you can subscribe monthly to a content creator, which in this case is us. Some features that are going to be available to you if you do subscribe. You're going to get an exclusive role in our Discord server, which includes private channels. You're going to get access to exclusive videos, recipes, and live streams. We'll be adding more content based on feedback from this community as it builds up. It's $5 a month, and you can start and stop at any time. Everything donated there pretty much goes back into our homestead and this channel. So we showed you 2 different houses in 2 previous videos. I'll put a link down in the video description and some links up top as well. If you haven't already watched those videos, we suggest that you do so before watching this video because it'll just make more sense. So let's give a quick summary on both houses. You want to take care of that?
Sure. Okay. So we went and saw that really, really pretty house. It was a beautiful white farmhouse. That was one of the first ones we saw with you guys. It had the acreage. It had a beautiful metal roof, so it's durable, will last long. The kitchen was absolutely gorgeous. He redid a lot of stuff in there. It was just beautiful. It was huge, a lot of space for seating. There was 2 fireplaces, one in the master bedroom, which I was thrilled about, and then one out in the living room. There were some outbuildings outside, which Marcos was super excited about. And then obviously lots of flat land because we want to do some pasturing, get some either goats or cows. So yeah, having the flatter land would be conducive for that, and then for gardening as well. So there was a lot of pros. However, it was at the top of our budget. There wasn't a lot of privacy. Like I think there was 3 or 4 different neighbors that we could see from our front door. So like we mentioned before, we don't hate people, but we're seeking just kind of that seclusion and being in nature and kind of being able to step outside of the city life and be away from the chaos and just be in our own little, what would you call it?
The homestead. Well, I think it's important to mention as well that one of the reasons that we want seclusion is that we've heard lots of horror stories about people that are doing homesteading, having their neighbors kind of stick their noses into what they're doing, complaining to the city, things like that. We're not going to be doing anything illegal, but we're going to be doing things that not everyone's going to be doing. Not everyone's going to be composting. Not everyone's going to have a composting toilet. Not everyone's going to have farm animals, things like that, or even collecting rainwater. You just don't want to be an area where people are going to stick their nose into what you're doing. You want to feel comfortable to do the things that you want to do. So that was a concern of ours. Just literally while we were looking at the house, we looked across the street and the neighbors are there on their porch, like looking over at us like, oh, great. That's perfect for what we want to do. They'll be sitting there looking, what are they doing now? What's there over there? So yeah, we just don't want looky-loos.
And then we noticed the road it was on. Yes, it was out in the country, but it was a road that was straight out of the city. So like busy. It was extremely busy, like a lot of traffic, and the cars were going pretty quick through there. And the house was kind of far back from the road, but close enough where we weren't comfortable having a little toddler running around or future babies running around in the front yard. So I wasn't really a fan of that. But otherwise, we absolutely loved it. So then should we move to house 2?
Sure, yeah.
So then the second house, do you want to talk about that one or you want me to?
Yeah, I could talk about it. So we're calling that one the secluded cabin-like house. How many acres?
7.5.
7.5 acres. How much was the first?
It was 16.
16 acres. Okay,
right.
So less acreage. Well, it was a 2-story house with a shingle roof. Wood burning fireplace. It was kind of a stove as well. It actually had a door on it. It had 2 outbuildings, which were kind of nice. A little greenhouse. It was on well water. very private, and it had that great park-like setting in the front. Some of the cons would be there was not a lot of flat land for farming and grazing. There was an easement through other properties to reach this property. Not the end of the world, but it's something to consider, where the other was right off the road. But this one, you have to drive through an easement, so we would have to possibly arrange how that gets cleared and stays cleared and things like that. So, but yeah, that's the two. And so we came to a point where we had to make a decision.
The third one would have been the mystery house, which if you go back, you'll see the disaster story.
And I could put a link up here for that as well. I think it's a great video. It was actually our previous video.
Oh, it's crazy. So yeah, be sure to check that video out. So it would have been 3, but it was down to 2. And we felt like we had to kind of act quick to make a decision because the market right now is super hot for, it's just a seller's market. So we've been watching houses just fly. But before you can even go and check them out, they're already pending. So we definitely felt the need to kind of make a quick decision to the best of our abilities.
So we decided to put an offer on one of the houses. And can you guess which one it was? We put an offer on the second house, the secluded cabin-like house. Some of the reasons that we did that were, first, that it was under budget, like we mentioned earlier. That would give us a lot more freedom and capability to do the things that we want to do.
Had a lot of privacy, which we really liked in comparison to the other house. Well, in comparison to any of the houses we looked at, really. See, the driveway was crazy long, which was intimidating almost. We're like, are we going the right way? Yeah, I loved that it had that seclusion. That was really nice. And then it was close enough to, some of the towns, which was great. But it wasn't on a busy road like the other house. So yeah, there was quite a few factors that we had to consider, but it came down to that. So we put an offer on it. There was another offer on the table, but they accepted ours, and we were so happy.
We went through the process, had an inspection, and as with any house, some things that concerned us came out of the inspection. So we hired some professionals to get estimates on our concerns to determine how severe they were and determine how much it would cost us. After getting the estimates, unfortunately, we were unable to reach an agreement with the seller on addressing the concerns. So, maybe surprising, kind of whiplash a little bit, after looking over our budget, kind of talking about what it would take to make the home sort of livable or suitable for us, we decided that the best decision for us was actually walk away. And that was really hard to do. Right. It was really hard to do because we felt like we had gone through so much in the process to get to this point where we were actually putting an offer on a house, where we actually called an inspector and to come and look at the house, to hire professionals. And we're trying to be careful about what we say because we want to be respectful to the owner of the home. But we hired a few professionals to look at various aspects of the house. So to go through all that work and do all that and then come to the point where you just feel like it's not the best situation is really hard to do. It's heartbreaking. Aside from the buy falling through, there were a lot of other things that in hindsight we would have kind of had to make work. And this would have really slowed down the process of getting the homestead up and running. So let's talk about some of those things. I'll go first. Land elevation. This property had a lot of hills and not a lot of flat land. This would have given us limited pasture land, very limited room for gardening, and really not a lot of options when it comes to outbuildings. I want to build a workshop. We'd like to build a she shed for you to do crafting. Oh my God,
yes.
Obviously, we need a chicken coop. Obviously, we're going to need other barns for other animals. And when you don't have a lot of flat land, you're going to have to get creative. Right, so next one, limited internet access. As I mentioned in the previous video, I work in tech, so I need consistent internet access for that. Also, the obvious thing, we're watching this right now, we're also running this YouTube channel, and we need reliable internet for uploading videos. We'd like to eventually do live streams and things like that. And the only internet that was really available out there was satellite internet. And it's not the worst internet in the world, but it's also, it could really make things challenging, especially for me for work. I get on a lot of video calls for my job, so having consistent internet was really important, and just something we hadn't thought about until we actually put an offer on the house and started investigating. Do you want to take the next one?
Sure. So there wasn't really a lot of room inside the house for hobbies. I want to homeschool our son when he gets a little older. So that was kind of a bummer. But again, something we were willing to make work. There wasn't a lot of area for my crafting or our music hobbies. And those are huge. It would have to be, and I hate this, smorgasbord rooms, where you have one room with the main purpose, but then you have to stuff another thing, another purpose in there. So like my crafting was going to have to be in our bedroom. And then our music was going to have to be in his office for work. Like we have a lot of instruments between the two of us. So it was going to be challenging, but we could have made it work. And so I don't know, after thinking about it again, it's like, man, and then being, with all the repairs that would have to be done, we wouldn't have enough money right away to build the she shed so that I'd have a separate space for that, or build the outbuildings he's wanting and things like that. And then there was no bedroom downstairs because we'd like to retire in whatever house that we settle on. I don't want to have to move in 10 years when my knees and hips are going bad and we want a room downstairs. I know, we're thinking ahead. Hopefully more like 20 or 25 years before that happens. Having a bedroom downstairs would be ideal, or even a space that we could eventually build out where it's not going to be a huge challenge.
Right. And we could have built an addition, but again, we get back to that flat land problem where there wasn't a lot of flat land around the house. So there really wasn't a lot of options for us to expand. So that's kind of it. That's our roller coaster. Woo!
I know.
It's our lives. So we're back on the hunt again.
I won't lie, it was discouraging at first because we worked so hard to get to this point, and being that close to having our dream a reality, it was very discouraging to have to walk away. But it was one of those things where it's like we knew it was the best thing, because otherwise we'd be kind of in a tight financial spot just to get to the place we want quicker. Just to say we got there and just to start already. But I don't think it would have been the wisest decision, and the seller wasn't willing to work with us enough to where it would work for us. So we had to just cut the ties. So yeah, back on the house hunt again and trying to stay positive. Our place is out there. Whatever works.
Yep, whatever works. That's what you got to do. Hopefully when we do find our homestead, we'll be able to set up a dedicated space for recording videos. It'll be a little less janky. Maybe we could put something nice behind us, but for now,
I know,
we're in a closet with our clothes and our things. So,
I know.
Especially because of that, we appreciate that you guys have decided to watch the video. You've decided to keep up with us. People have subscribed, followed us on Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. We really do appreciate it. Appreciate you watching. We're excited to create more videos for you guys, take you along the journey. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned.
Bye.
Over and out from the closet. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like, as that helps us out a lot. If you have any questions for us or thoughts about the video, make sure you drop a comment below. Also, if you'd like to be informed the next time we upload any new content, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell icon as well. Thanks again, and we will see you next time.